So welcome back to another video, guys. I will be playing a little bit of Antipulses, as you can see. So I have the honey badger, and I died. A good gun. I spent 1,800 credit. Oh, not 1,800. Huh. I spent 2,800 credits, 2,800 credits on this thing. So hopefully it pays off. Now, I have played around with it quite a bit. I've got about 45 to 50 kills with this thing. And it's a solid weapon. It is. It's not amazing for long range, but close range, it's very powerful. Okay, if you can use it right and you don't hit a wall. But in straight combat fights, like straight spray fights, it's probably gonna win over those guns. Simply due to the fact that it's a powerful gun. The damage is pretty good. It's not over the top. I am sucking absolute butt. Like, I am doing absolutely terrible. As you can see, fire, and I am doing terrible. But yeah, it's got a very generous fire. Oh my god, I cannot win. Oh dear. I am doing horrible. But yeah, pretty much, like in these tunnel areas, is where this thing shines. Where it's not an open combat, it's fairly enclosed, it's tight. If you can get into combat with somebody in a tight environment, this thing is going to succeed. Most of the time. Because it has a very fast fire rate. But the thing about the fire rate is it's generous, but conservative. Meaning you don't spray through all your ammo in 2.5 seconds. But you also have a fast enough fire rate that it really does something. To be completely honest, I really enjoy this gun. Its pros, high fire rate, decent penetration. Its cons, I don't know. Probably biggest one is probably range. This thing is not much of a range gun. I'm gonna get 2 of them. Why? Oh, never mind. This thing is not a heavy, it's not a heavy assault rifle. This thing will move you around the map very quickly. But this thing is not to be used as an LMG because that is die. Like, the thing is the recoil on this thing is decently high. Meaning, long range isn't really for you can get people at decent stud ranges, like I just got somebody at 108. I just got killed at like 99. Up to about 100 studs is about how effective this one is. Past, like if you're trying to push it one, maybe it's, I think it tops out at about 150 studs, which is pretty solid. Maybe not 150, but it's decent range. It's got a decent range. As you can see, I took somebody out at 200 studs, decently easily. So, okay. Maybe 250 studs is where it starts to really cap out. I'm not completely sure yet. Haven't had enough time with it. But I think 250 is about as far as you're gonna get with this thing. Like, oh god, I have no idea where they all are. It could literally be anywhere around here. And due to its built-in suppressor, it's pretty good. Pretty good for stealth. But to be completely honest, it is a solid weapon. You are going to be able to cover your teammates with this thing. It's kind of like a more advanced MP5K. And I enjoy the MP5K. Very much so. It's kind of like an MP5... like MP5 mixed with an MP7 with an MP5K mixed in. So, a very interesting feel to it, but an overall good feel. Like, this thing is gonna help you. There's no doubt about that. But it's only very certain situations. It's decently versatile. But when you're going into range combat, this is not something you're gonna want to play. That is one of the cons. But the part of the pros is the fact that you bring this into close quarters combat and you're gonna take somebody out. And it's a very, very reliable weapon in close quarters. Simply due to the fire rate and it's simply a good, solid weapon with a heavy fire, like a pin down rate, where you're able to just pin somebody down with it. It's very nice. And I am specifying these things because it is solid. Certain guns are going to outclass it in certain situations. If you're going against an M60, you're probably not gonna win. But if you're going for like that, was a perfect situation where you kill them at about 83 studs. At about 50 to 100 studs is where this thing shines. So it's not incredibly long range, and it's not incredibly short range either. It's a mid weapon. It's very, very good at where it should be used. And this thing is going to help. If your team is losing and you have a squad who all have these, you're gonna do some damage. This thing, like, it does have a decent amount of recoil, which is one of the cons. And it is a decent flaw. It's not that bad. Like, it is a solid weapon. As you can see, I've got full-ring vertical red laser on it, and it's absolutely incredible. Now I'm gonna see if I got anything for the barrel or to suppressor. I don't think that's gonna make any difference. If not, make it worse. Vertical grip, other red dot, optics. about to say. That's pretty much it for my loadout for it. And yeah, you can see that I spent all my credits on it. Okay, what? Dunes. Now, Dunes is an interesting map for it. Simply due to the fact that you don't really know what you're gonna get in it. Like, it's a very powerful weapon if you get it in the range of where it's most used, and that's, I'd say 50 to 150 is probably the golden range for this thing. 200 is slightly pushing it a little bit, but this thing is an absolute beast on the battlefield if you can use it right. Because you can see quite a sum of people do use this thing because simply it's good. If you have a gun that's really good, and people are going to use it. If you have a bad gun that one person uses, nobody's really going to use it. And the fact that the Honey Badger is still used quite frequently. Not as frequently as it used to be, but still pretty frequently. It is still considered a good rifle. And that is probably one of the best features. Is, like you can just see, 139 studs. One of the golden ranges. After that, you kind of pushing it. Unless you can control the recoil. And if you find a setup that is 0 recoil, let me know. I want to work towards that. Like, I will grind this thing to get this. Because 0 recoil on the Honey Badger would be an absolute amazing thing. Because the only thing holding me back from saying, like, this thing's perfect is the recoil. And even the damage is great too. The damage, the amount of ammo, everything about it just has a solid placement on it. And it's just good. Like, it's not over the top incredible, like, oh my gosh, like, sell all your skins to get this thing. You'll never really live life without it. It's one of those guns where you don't really want to spend your money on it, but you can't wait to get it. Or maybe you're just crazy and you don't like the Honey Badger. That was a joke. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions. But yeah, this is a little bit of a shorter video than normal. Simply because there's not a lot of cover. It's a solid rifle. And I've just been using it this entire time. That way I got the gameplay. So, I'll see you guys in the next one, and I hope you guys have a great